Alright guys, welcome to the first coding video here. We're going to get started pretty quickly. We're just going to create a folder structure, Git repository, and start using the Vue and Express generators to create our backend and front end. So let's get started. I'm going to pop open my terminal here. We'll do this on the desktop, why not? We're going to make a directory, call it blog, and we're going to cd into blog. I'm going to get init, touch dot get ignore, open this up, and in the get ignore I'm going to go ahead and I just know right off the bat we're not going to want ds store, so we're not going to want it there either. Cool. We're also not going to want node modules or package.json. We're not going to want anything in the dist environment stuff, maybe VS Code or anything else VS Code. I think that's good. Alright, from there just going to run the generators. If you don't have them, npm install globally. You're going to want express generator, and I believe it is Vue CLI is what you'll want. Let's go ahead and check here, see what Google says about that. Installation, yep, Vue CLI. So you'll just want both of those. Add Vue CLI. I don't need these, so I'm not going to run them. Instead, I'm just going to actually run express node server. There we go. CD into the node server, and open it up in our text editor here. Alright, so here we go. We're not going to need any of these. Hopefully you've seen these before. This is just public, routes, views. We don't need any of this because we are going to be using a client-side application that will have all that stuff for us. We're just going to need the app.js, and in fact we don't need a lot of this stuff. Don't really need that, don't need, oopsies, don't need that. Also, we are going to make those const. Going to make that const. Going to get rid of the routes because we got rid of that. Got rid of the view engine. Got rid of the logger. Going to implement our own logger here in a second. JSON UI cookie parser. Don't need the public stuff. Don't need the routes. Don't need any of these. We can do those later if we want. Alright, so there we go. That's pretty much the minimal what we'll need there. A couple more things that I want to do. So dev start. I want to have some debugging. We got rid of that logger, but we're going to bring in another module to do this for us. We're going to use a wildcard because we want every namespace that's prepended with app. From there, we're going to use NodeMon, which is another module we're going to install. And we're just going to run the app like the start command does. So there we go. That should be enough. Let's go ahead and install those modules. And npm install NodeMon and EasyLog. There we go. EasyLog, pretty nice module. Makes everything formatted and nice. Tells you where everything logs out at. I recommend using it. So we're going to have a server logger here. Require easy log and give it a namespace of server prepended with app so that it'll show up according to what we set our debug to. Also, we don't need Morgan, Jade, HTTP errors. We don't need debug. Just get rid of that stuff. Cool. Now that we have that up and running, well, if we get rid of debug, we'll need to get rid of it here as well, and instead of using debug, we're going to use server log, and we're going to grab the server log and pop it into here as well. Okay, back in here, let's do the logger that Morgan would have done for us. So app.use request response and next, and all we want is server log, and we want to see the method that was used, so request.method, and we want to see the URL it came in on, so request I think it's original URL. Yep, there we go. So that's not very hard. No need to bring in Morgan for just that. Let's go ahead and run this. npm run dev start, and if all goes well, all did not go well. Of course it didn't. Oh, it's because we just installed the certain things. We didn't actually run npm install. This should take care of that, and we'll have Express, and now we can run npm dev start. And there we go. We see running on port 3000. I actually would like to change that to 9000, just a habit of mine. We're going to shut that down and load it back up. There we go, running on port 9000. Perfect. So if we go ahead and actually let's come here, after all these uses, we'll add a route. So app.get, on the slash route, we are just going to res next, add our callback, and it's just res.send hello world. So we're just going to send that back. We can see it reloaded for us. That's great. Now if we go to Chrome, we can go localhost 9000. And after a bit here, maybe we did something wrong. Taking forever. Well, we see, oh, we did do something wrong. After we log this out, we don't want it to hang up, so we need to call next, so it'll move on. All right, that updated. Here we go. If we reload that, we can of course see our message. So our backend's working. That's great. Let's move on to the front end. Okay, so let's go back a directory here. Let's go back a directory and view UI. You can also just use the generator on the command line. I like to use their UI. You know, if they have it, why not use it? So not sure what it's looking at here. It seems to think there's something. Certainly does not exist. Yeah, that folder does not exist. Let's rename our blog folder. So demo blog. There we go. And view UI. Maybe it's because I've done a Vue project in something called that before. Okay, seems like it might be working now. Yeah, seems like it. So I must have made a project before. That's fine. So what I did here was I'm going to keep the beginner instructions around. We don't need a Git repository because we have one already. We're going to do the selection manually. We need Babel, of course. We're not going to do PWA. Router and Vuex. Vuex is for data store stuff. You'll see that later. Routers to route between different pages and components. We'll need that. Linter. I don't need to be told how to code. Testing. Probably should, but we're not going to. Preprocessor. If you know this stuff and you want to, go for it. I typically would do it with SCSS, but we're just going to use Bootstrap, I think, for this project. So we're going to move on from that. Create project. Don't need to save this preset or at all. And creating projects. So that should be running for a little bit. And there we go. Project created. So we can go ahead and X out of this guy. Kill the little UI server and go check out our project. And here we go. We see we have the Vue client. Installed all the modules for us already. We don't need this git ignore. We don't need this readme. If we look at package.json, we have a serve script. So let's go ahead and just run that. npm cd view client npm run serve. Here we go. Fingers crossed. Nothing should go wrong. Something went wrong. Oh, looks like I did not. Okay, looks like we deleted a file we definitely should not have deleted. Oh, looks like we deleted the entire source. That is amazing. Alright, we're gonna put that back. Okay, everything works now. So don't delete your source folder. That does not work. Looks like it jumped around when I tried to delete the git ignore. So here we go. We've got our project. That's great and all, but we don't really care about all that. Let's start stripping some stuff out. Oops. Actually, sure. Yeah, we'll keep it around. Just rename it. We'll call it blog. Probably rename it later. But let's get rid of pretty much everything in there. And just have an H1 that says blog here. There we go. Let's, we don't need props here. No message. Just call this component blog. Don't need any styles because we're going to use Bootstrap. There we go. Speaking of Bootstrap, yeah, well, we don't need this. But speaking of Bootstrap, let's check out the index.html and let's go to Bootstrap, get started. Let's get their starting template. Let's paste that in here. Let's see what we want. I think we want that and that. Why not? We want all of this in the body here instead of that hello world, and we will change the title to demo blog. There we go. And now we'll just get rid of all that stuff. Now we got one template. There we go. Okay, so now let's go to app. And yeah, again, don't need these styles. Don't need an about link. This should say demo blog. Yada yada. Okay, cool. The main, nothing changes here. It's bringing our router, store, rendering our app, and mounting it to the ID right there. So let's go to our router now. Our router is trying to bring in that about component, which doesn't exist. This is going to be trying to bring in, oh, that's bringing in the view, which does exist. The view, oh, I see. Okay, the view is right here, home. So views and components are syntactically the same. They're just semantically a little different. The logical separation here is kind of, these are pages and these are more like components that could be in one page, many pages, you know, whatever you want. They're made to be reused, where these are more my app specific. So the home component just says, tries to use this hello world component that doesn't exist anymore. It tries to load a image that doesn't exist anymore. So let's fix that. Let's import blog from blog, and let's say that's a component. So there we go. And router, did we fix everything here? Let's, yeah, we can call it home. That's fine. Cool, I think everything should work. Let's go ahead and check that out again. Oh, loads up, demo blog. Oh, we are not seeing the blog header though. Let's check out, looks like we've got an error. Unknown custom element hello world. Looks like we've got a reference to hello world somewhere. Blog, oh, yep, here we go. Didn't change that one out. So let's get rid of that, save, and now, oh, yep, I think I saw it there. Yep, blog, everything looks good. Okay, so, doesn't look great yet, but we don't care about that. We're just getting everything set up. One last thing I do want to do is we will say, we'll tap into this created life cycle hook in Vue for this blog component. And whenever this component gets created, I want to reach out to our server and just make sure that everything works out. So here, what I am going to do is fetch status. We're just going to render that. You know what? Let's put it in a p tag. Class equals lead. There we go. Fetch status. Have some data here. Turn. There we go. Fetch status. It's going to start off by being fetching. So if we go look at this, we'll see fetching. There we go. Obviously it's not fetching, or it would be there. So we are now going to do the fetching. In order to do the fetching, let's go ahead and shut this down. We're going to install another package, Axios, which is how we are going to fetch stuff from the server. Speaking of fetching, we will need to go back to our Node server, because I do not believe we implemented cores. We did not. So let's cd // go into our Node server, npm install cores. If you don't know what cross-origin site scripting attack, whatever stuff is, go look it up. We could implement it ourselves, or we could say app.use cores, and it'll just set it up, I think, for all sites with that wildcard right there. But we will just bring it in and let it do its magic. Yeah, we don't need to worry too much about configuration right now. We're just setting everything up. So we're just gonna say app.use cores, and everything should work, and we shouldn't be stopped when we try to reach out to it. Now let's go back to the Vue client. Okay, and in the blog here, we want to first of all, we need to bring in Axios. So import Axios from Axios. There we go. And I will want to say Axios dot, it's just fetch, I don't know, Axios docs. Google knows. Google always knows. We could use those, post, get. I think I'm just gonna do, where's the one where you can just like totally customize it? Yep, this is what I want. Perfect. Alright, cool. Looks like it was supposed to just be, oh, Axios. Don't need to do anything at all. So get, cool. I'm gonna localhost 9000 on the blank route. That should be the one we set up earlier. When it comes back, we'll just console, well, I guess we don't need a console log if we're setting the fetch. So this dot fetch status equals success. Sure, we'll console dot log the actual response dot data. That will have the hello world message on it for us, and if that fails, we will catch the error, and this dot fetch status equals failed, and it should print out the error for us if we fail. But yeah, that looks right. So yeah, let's go ahead and run it here. Compiling, and here we go. Fetching. Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, because we're in a callback at this point. So we need this dot fetch status. I don't want to do the whole thing, so we'll just do some console logging. Or wait, if I just change this to an arrow function, this should retain, right? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. If not, we'll Google it. Failed. Well, that's something. We changed it. Let's look at why it failed. Failed to load. Error, connection refused. Well, we should probably start the server. npm run dev start. Alright, now let's go ahead here, reload, success, hello world, there we go. So we've got our back end, our front end set up, they're talking to each other, we're all good to go. So from here, we're just going to start adding stuff, or add GraphQL, we'll add MongoDB storing stuff and mapping stuff together, and then we'll add authentication with Passport and get all that hooked up together, and I'll see you guys there.